Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Everyone's coming on. I am super pumped for our class today, as I always am. I love being able to teach you all. All right, so who is all here? I love it. I love when you all just kind of populate on. It's so awesome. So fun to see all of you. So good. So good. All right. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Okay. Did everyone get to watch my class yesterday? It was so fun. I got to share all about my group program. Super fun. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about how to tell people you are going to start another weight loss program. And the question is to tell or not to tell. And so this is a big question because so many of us are gone down the road of weight loss, of all the different, okay, I just need to message. Sometimes some of you go on the other, like when I teach, I have another one. So is she on here yet? Because people were on the other one. Anyways, okay, they'll figure it out. You got this. Okay, let me focus. All right. So welcome, welcome. Some of you are new here, so I'm just going to introduce myself quickly. So my name is Dara Thomason, and I was a professional quilter. Someone just messaged me the other day, and yes, I was a professional quilter for 5 years. I have one book out, another one that's going to be coming out on free motion quilting. I called myself the Free Motion Quilting Liberator, and so now I'm a life liberator. And so I have been certified at the Life Coach School as a weight loss and life coach, and I now work full-time in helping women lose the weight, keep it off, and create a lot of joy in their life. And so I have a full practice of one-on-one clients, and now I'm just starting my group program, which is called Love Yourself Thin. And it's going to be 12 weeks, and I'm going to be walking you through weight loss science is simple, emotions are the key to the universe, and the third is create a future you whom you love being. So that is going to be my group program that is starting October 19th. It's going to be 2 days a week. Mondays, I teach the course curriculum, and then Wednesdays, you have a full hour of me coaching. Then you get the bonus of, an incredible bonus of being in a private Facebook group where you will have the support of incredible women to help you to accomplish your goals. And I will be going in that Facebook group at least once a day during the week, and usually Saturdays. I don't do it on Sundays. Well, you can ask Dara, and I will answer your questions. I'll help support you throughout. And the reason I'm starting it October 19th is because I want to support you through Halloween. Some people really love Halloween. And then American Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And so you are going to get a foundation for those eating holidays. You're going to start getting really into it, and then you're going to have that support for New Year's. So when we've normally done, like, January 1st rolls around, we're like, I should make the goals. You're actually going to have such a foundation because we're creating a future you that you're going to, like, 2021 is just going to, like, be such a difference for you. So I love that. And I love being able to offer that. So you can sign up now. And I do have the course. I laid all the extra bonuses and everything. If you just want to, like, pay now, you just message me and I'll send you a PayPal invoice and you can come and join me in the Facebook group. Love, love, love to have you there. Okay. So today, this is very exciting. I have some really fun content that I want to share. I see some of you on here that are my one-on-one clients, and I was, like, feeling like this is so fun. And for those who aren't my one-on-one clients, you're going to just get so much from this. I love it. So how to tell people you are going to start another weight loss program. So first of all, do you tell people or do you not tell? And it was very interesting as I was researching this program, researching and really thinking about this, that about what's going, like if you should tell or not tell. Okay, can I have maybe Ruth or Mary? Can you text here? I'm feeling really bad because one of you, let's see if I can just text her. She was waiting on there. Click on the link, sorry. She was waiting for the webinar and she's not there. Sorry, I just feel bad. It's for Marcia. So I don't know. Oh, you are on there. Oh, perfect. Good. You made it. Okay. Sorry. I feel bad if anyone misses and they want to be here. Okay. I'm very compassionate that way. All right. So in the research I was doing, they talk about the benefits of telling people and not telling people. And so it's really interesting to read all the different thoughts about it. Now in the chat, I want you to write, do you tell people or not tell people that you're going to do a weight loss program, and why or why not? I want to hear your thoughts. Okay. What are you thinking? Okay. Tell them so there's no room for excuses. Okay, that's a thought. What's another one? I want to hear it. Don't tell them, get too much feedback. Ooh, what other thoughts? Not tell, they comment you shouldn't diet, or they watch you like a hawk. Oh, interesting. Other thoughts, you guys. I love this. Okay. All right. So this is a question I want to ask you. There's a couple of questions. I prefer not to tell. Then they say things like, you can't eat something. Oh yeah. Only tell family and close friends so they can support you and keep you accountable. Interesting. So we have lots of different thoughts and we have lots of different opinions. And this is really good because we're all unique and we're all our own people. So as you're thinking about this question, I want you to have, these are some of the questions I have for you. What is the role you're giving other people when you say, I'm going to join another weight loss program? So what role are you expecting them to play? Are you wanting them to be a coach? Do you want them to be someone that's going to be like a disciplinarian, like don't do this, do this? Right? Do you want them, so, and do you want them to eat the exact same way that you are eating? Do you want them to never bring any candy into the house? Or do you want them to be eating like whatever you're eating? And like, what do you make that mean? Really interesting. Here, I want to get all your comments. Just to be a cheerleader, right? But it's interesting because like, what is their role? Do you expect them to support, like, how do you expect them to support you? They should eat the same as you. They should never tempt you. They should say sweet, encouraging words to you always. They should be a team player. Do you even know what you want them to do? Would you even, like, it's so interesting, right? Opens up the opportunity to share, to be a cheerleader, not say anything, right? I just told my family we're going to be eating healthier, right? So what are like these things coming up for you? It's really interesting because we all have different thoughts and opinions because we all have had different experiences. And so one of the questions that I really like to ask myself is, what is the difference between a diet and a weight loss program? And yesterday I touched on this in my presentation about my 12-week Love Yourself Thin program. And a diet, we're all on diets. We all are, because a diet by definition, there's a couple different definitions, but one of the definitions of diets is like, it's just the food that you eat. It's just the normal things that you eat all the time. So so whether our diet consists of a lot of potato chips and ice cream, that is just our way of eating. And so what we're working on here is it's a weight loss program that's going to help you to actually manage your body in the way the body's supposed to be managed, because food is actually to give us nutrients and minerals. Oh, that's interesting. I started without my husband eating the same way, but a month later he made his own choice and jumped on board. I do remember you, Leanne, and about your anniversary and all of that. I'm pretty sure that's you. Yes. So yeah, one is short term, the other one is life changing. So the way that the way I approach weight loss is that we are creating our very own unique program, and we're understanding why we're doing it. We're understanding all the science behind it. Like, we are completely empowered. We are in charge of it. And so that's really, really interesting to think about and to own that. So I just think it's really good for our brains to start thinking about things in a different way. Okay. So, oops, too many buttons I'm clicking. Right. So why would you tell them? So I want you to think about that. Why would I tell them? And what was my expectation of that? And then why wouldn't I tell them? And think about why we're doing it in the first place. So one of the concepts that I teach is that we are 100% responsible for our own life. So people can say words, husband could say, look at what, they could say all sorts of things. Those are always their thoughts. And then we get to choose what we want to think about what they're saying. So we are always 100% responsible for ourselves. And so when we think about being a team player, I want you to think about, what does that actually even mean? So if we're thinking about football, for example, a quarterback has very, very specific rules and very specific purposes. We've got the linemen, the defensive players, and when they all win, even though they're all doing different things. And so that's why it's so important to be 100% responsible for ourselves, because we are going to get our own results. Okay, so just think about that difference. Now, for one of the things I was thinking about with like to tell or not to tell is different situations. So for example, if you're going to the movies, right, and the whole purpose of going to the movies is to, most likely, just to enjoy a movie. And so it's up to you to decide how you want to enjoy that. So for example, if you went with somebody and they had the popcorn, think about what you expect them to do. Like, I want you to go to the movies with me and not eat the popcorn because you're going to be tempting me and you're terrible. Versus, I'm going to the movies because I want to be with the person that I'm with and I want to enjoy the popcorn. I want to just focus on the movie. The popcorn, people can eat whatever they want. It doesn't matter, because I'm here for me, and my purpose is to enjoy being with the person and to enjoy the movie. So it actually has nothing to do with them eating any popcorn or any of that. The other part is, this has happened in our house where my husband will say, I don't want you to buy junk food. I don't want you to buy any junk in this house. I don't want you to have, sugar and all that stuff. And like, we have 5 kids and I'm like, I don't want to have a house that doesn't have that. And even if we don't have it in our house, guess what? We could go to any drive-through or anything. So it always goes down to this we're 100% responsible. Now, so those are the unhealthy kind of behaviors that can happen. But I do want to share some success stories of my clients. So for example, one of my clients would go, and in the past, Friday night would be like, they would do like pizza night. They would do all sorts of food nights. And she said, you know what, husband, I'm really feeling like I'm putting on this weight, and I've put on all this weight for all this time, and I really want to change. And so the healthy way that they approached it was, there are a lot of really amazing foods out there that we haven't experienced. Like, we don't play around with like crab or with, you know, different ways of doing chicken. And there's so many beautiful vegetables out there that we haven't even like played around with or learned. There's so many different ethnicities of foods that are so beautiful. Let's expand our cooking. Let's expand our repertoire. Let's expand, you know, how we approach things. And so even though food was still a highlight of their Friday night, the food that they were eating was just so beneficial, and they didn't feel sick afterwards, and they actually enjoyed the time together and they enjoyed the experience. And so you can see the difference of, you know, why you would do either way. So the other part is that so in my home, so I have 5 children, and I want to live a life where I don't feel deprived, because I'm telling you, ice cream is good. We do this thing where it's like good, better, best. Ice cream, chocolate bars, they're all good. I'm never going to say they aren't, because they are delicious. They just don't serve me very well. So I plan 24 hours in advance, and it's called a Joy Eat. And so that's something that's in my home, and I have regulation about, and I am the decider of all of that. And that's a healthy way of looking at food and your relationship with food. Okay, so this is really an interesting concept, and I got this from Janine Roth. And so we talk about our evolution of our emotional food brain, and really thinking about this is even in our food behavior, our behavior. So here we have, as a baby, we had an innate understanding of how much food we needed and how much we didn't need, okay? So it was there was like self-regulation. So you'll see a baby, they'll stop drinking, they'll stop eating, like they just turn their head, they're like, I'm done, right? So good. So this baby is like self-regulated, they're good to go. And then we have, as children, we get rules and more rules. And we're just told rules. We're like, eat this, finish your plate. Children are starving in other places in the world. And you need to eat this. And then the food guide changes, and it's like, oh, you need to eat more of this. And then the food guide changes. Oh, no. And then, no, we don't want to have any fat. We want to eat cream cheese with no fat. Oh, wait a minute. Now we want fat. Oh, we don't want butter. Oh, then we're going to have eggs. So we have lots and lots of rules, and we don't always understand why we have the rules. And it seems like the rules kind of have changed, especially with marketing and all of that, okay? And then we go to the teenager phase. And the teenager phase is like rebellion. It's like, I don't want to have all these rules, and everyone's telling me what to do, and I just want to do my own thing, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. I don't care, okay? So we have this rebellion, we eat all this stuff, and we're not doing so well, okay? So then we progress to this adulthood. So we have wisdom and knowledge. So we actually understand, like with my principles, like the first one is weight loss science is simple. So we actually understand what happens when we eat all the foods, when we have all the refined sugars and flours, when we have all of the vegetables or whatever that is. We understand that the weight loss science actually is simple. And that is why I've been able to lose 50 pounds, keep it off without counting calories or exercising. It's because, and I literally, like when I say it's simple, like I've made it so simple because I would get so overwhelmed with all the YouTube videos and all of that. And so my goal is just to always come back to weight loss science is simple, and I can always figure it out. So then when I understand that, and then I have life experience about emotions. So my second pillar is emotions are the key to the universe. And we're going to talk a little bit about self-confidence. We're actually going to talk about self-confidence next. But one of the reasons we don't have self-confidence is because we work really hard at avoiding negative emotions, because we don't want to be in a situation where we don't feel like we're going to have success, because that doesn't feel good. We've actually never really been taught how to fail. So when I say that, I want you to really think about that. It's like you do things. How many of you will say like, oh, let's do a new task. I can't wait to fail. Yeah, we're going to talk about that next. So with an adult, you understand that we can get wisdom and knowledge, and we can feel empowered, and we are, again, 100% responsible for ourselves. So when we think about this evolution of the emotional food brain, we've got this baby who is self-regulated. I know what I need, I eat what I need, and I stop when I'm done, and then I eat when I need, I cry when I need something, and then I finish it, and I'm good. So we've got some self-regulation, and we don't have any problems with obesity and all of that. Then we have this child that's just getting rules, 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 don't know why, don't have this like guiding force, and they just kind of rote. It's just like, I just do it and I'm not really understanding why. And there's a lot of mixed messages. A lot of my clients will have, moms say you have to eat the dessert, but don't exercise, but you have to eat everything on your plate. They're not learning to trust themselves. A lot of stuff that goes along here. And then we've got this rebelliousness, and we don't want to listen to rules. We don't want to have any reasoning. And so this is one of the problems that I find so many of my clients but I have fallen into. It's like diet. Tell me a diet. I don't want to know why. Just tell me it's going to work, and I'll just do it, and I'll just white knuckle, or else I won't feel, I just don't worry about my feelings. I'll just, bear with it. Like I'll just I can't stand this anymore. This is ridiculous. I'm not having any joy in my life. This is awful. I'll just eat whatever I want. So this is the spin cycle that we go over and over. And this is what the yo-yo dieting, this is all of that. And this is what eventually leads a lot of us to like type 2 diabetes, to having problems with our health, because we haven't figured this part out yet. And so it's hard to go into this part where we actually slow down, understand what's really going on. And we have the emotional part where we aren't afraid to fail. We understand about emotions. And then we have this really very basic science that helps us to know, oh, so if I do this thing, this is what's going to be the consequence. Okay. All right. So amazing. So I want you in the chat to tell me how this resonates with you with the yo-yo dieting and all of that you have gone over in your life. And if there have been moments of time where you have gone into this part, and how that's going to help you. So 99% of people who lose weight gain it back because they haven't got to this stage. They haven't been able to break this cycle of the rules, 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 rebellion. All right, any thoughts about the rules, 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 rebellion? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay. How many times do you think you've gone? You're spinning. Yeah, you can see it now. Right. And it is hard because some people will hire me and they're like, Dara, just tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, we create our very own protocol. We apply this and we will go with it. So for those of you who found me from Lisa's and the 5-day challenge I did, that was the first time in my life that I ever wrote a menu. And this is not what I normally do. I don't normally write a menu plan. But the purpose I did for that was because I wanted you to have a place where you would start, and then we could coach your brain and see what's going on in your brain for like why you're not following that plan. Because I say to you, hey, listen, I have this perfect plan. It's going to help you be in your parameters. You're going to lose the weight. Just do what I say and you'll be fine. So it was interesting to watch people not following that, even though they knew that if they followed it, then they would be fine. It's that rebellion, the rules, rebellion, rules, rebellion cycle that we just go over and over and over. Okay. All right. So when we take self-accountability, then we're able to break free from that. So in order to do that, to be responsible for ourselves, we need to learn the difference between confidence and self-confidence, okay? So how would you define the difference between confidence and self-confidence. So if I said to you, if you, everyone today, I want you to go to the grocery store, buy some yogurt, put some fruit in it, and eat it, how confident do you think you would be? And and I'd say no sugar in the yogurt. And I want you to do Greek yogurt. How confident are you all? I want you to put that in the thing, like 100%, 95%, 70%, 100%. Okay, who else? Yeah. And why would that be so easy for you to do that? Why are you so confident? How come? Because do you all know how to go to a grocery store? Yeah, you know the parameters. So 100%, right. So you know how to go to a grocery store. You've done it 100 times. Oh, no choices involved. That's interesting. You do have a choice. Have knowledge and past history. That's right. So you're like, no, I can do this. And so if I said to you, hey, take a picture of your sewing machine. I'm doing a collection of sewing machines and I want them all sent to me by tonight. Again, you know how to use a phone. You've done it 100 times now. But so confidence is something that you've done before. You have a proven track record and you've had success. So you can go back and you can show that you can do it. Okay. Now, self-confidence, there's 3 things that have to happen to have self-confidence. One is you have to build trust. 2 is you have to know that you can feel any feeling. And 3, it's the way you think of yourself. Interesting. Okay. So let's just talk a little bit about trust. So being self-confident is being secure in yourself and your abilities. So your ability to trust yourself. So knowing you can experience any emotion, including failure, without being harmed. So in my second pillar, emotions are the key to the universe, I actually teach you about emotions, how to process them, how to recognize them, how to learn from them, how to grow from them in a way that we haven't been taught before. And so it's really, really fascinating to watch all of my clients really understand like the freedom that's coming because they're not being held back by fear, or they're not being held back by sadness or by discouragement or by being irritated, right? I coached today on irritation. So interesting. Okay. So part of this trust is knowing you will do what you say. So when we put this in the framework of our food, how many times have we said, okay, I'm not eating any bread, or I'm not going to eat any sugar for the next 4 days. And then you eat the sugar. And then what happens? Instead of saying, oh, I made a mistake, I made that choice, it's kind of disappointing, oh man, I'm kind of disappointed that I did that, I'm kind of irritated with myself. You don't want to feel any of those negative emotions, so you just go and you eat something else, or you do something, and then now you've broken your trust with yourself, and so now it's just like the spiral just gets worse and worse, right? So that's a big part. Now, why do we lack self-confidence? We don't trust ourselves. We don't know how to manage our minds, so we don't learn how to control our feelings. And so we're scared and we hide, and we don't have this really healthy self-image, and we don't have an ability to build our self-image. So that is one of the problems we have. And a lot of us have this all or nothing kind of thinking, this perfectionism kind of way. It's like, well, I'm not good enough, so I need to quit. or maybe I'll fresh start tomorrow, right? Rather than I'm just in the process of learning how to control my thoughts. I'm just in the process of being more patient with myself. And so what happens with my clients and with myself is we catch ourselves halfway through a binge or halfway through self-deprecation or being unkind to ourselves, and we're able to learn to stop it, not judge ourselves, and then say, how do I want to show up for myself? How would I feel better if whatever that is, right? So that's a really big part. Now, one of the things that happens to us as humans is that our minds are wired to go to the negative first. Why do you think knowing what we know about the lower brain and the higher brain, why do you think our brains will go to the negative first? Why do you think that could happen? Now remember, we used to not have houses with security. We didn't have grocery stores. We didn't have a stable, to protect us. We didn't have, we had food and house insecurity. We didn't always know what was going to be safe or not. So we want to feel like we were protected, to think. So our brain doesn't want us to think we failed, but it goes to the negative because it's like, you need to be on alert. You need to be careful. You don't want to fail. Let's be really attentive. It's kind of like the overprotective parent. It's like, oh, don't, we have this helicopter parenting thing going on. It's like, we're not giving any confidence to our kids to and knowing that healthy balance. Obviously we're not going to say, oh, kids, go play outside. You're 2 years old. Just let them play. But if your kid's 12 years old, like my 11 and 8-year-old are now walking home from the bus. That was really hard for me to let them do that. But I walked them to the bus. I walked them home several times. We talked about the safety of it. We talked about rules. I made sure they've done lots of walks with me, right? Because we want to make sure that they're going to have success. And so our brain can actually go to the negative because it wants us, it's like a protective parent, to be like, we got to stay safe, we got to stay alive, we got to do all the things. But that's just how we were wired. Fight, flight, or freeze, right? Those were our responses. But now we have lots of security with food. We have lots of security in our homes. And for the most part, yes, we have a pandemic going on right now. But even with that, it's like humans are amazing. They just adjust so quickly. It's like, it's just like normal now to have so many people going in at Costco at the same time. And then you have to wait. And then there's a 6-foot distance when you're at the grocery store. It's amazing how resilient we are as humans. We just adjust, and then we wear masks, and then we make masks and we wear masks, and we can adjust and we can change. Okay. So we are building our self-confidence. We're building that trust in ourselves. So our brains are programmed to see what's wrong because it wants us to stay alive, wants us to stay safe. And we also have this concept that our beliefs are just thoughts that we've had over and over again. So this is something that's been happening to a lot of my clients is they're learning to build trust. They've changed beliefs about things. Some of them will say things like, breakfast used to be the most important part of my day. And now they realize they were never really hungry. It was like, oh, I just did it out of habit. I just believe. I just thought, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I know Linda was just talking about this since she's been doing the intermittent fasting. It's like, oh, I just thought, is this a belief that I had? But then when you kind of question it and look at it really, it's like, oh, it's okay. So when we know that, beliefs are just thoughts we think over and over. But the other part is self-confidence comes from needing our own approval. So I am going to show you, this is one of my favorite slides. And I'm just going to put it up here. Because one of the reasons that we don't have our self-confidence in weight loss And when we talk about like, should you tell people you're on a weight loss program or not, it's not so much about that. It's about you telling yourself that you can have success, because the idea of spending, $2,000 on this group program and coming out as a failure is like heart-wrenching. Or signing up to have me as your one-on-one coach and feeling like, oh, I'm going to fail. It's like devastating. Okay. So it's your own self-concept, your own self-confidence, that is why, your own insecurities, that is why you would not sign up for this. And it's because so much of so we talk about buffering, but so much of what we're doing with buffering is when we use external things to change the way we feel emotionally. And so if you aren't able to learn how to build your own confidence, you're not able to talk to yourself and to reassure yourself, and you're needing like me to approve you, or your husband to approve you, or your neighbor or other people on Facebook to approve you. If you're needing them to validate you, you're never going to be able to validate it for yourself. So it's like I call it the moving target. Because if you're always needing other people to tell you that you're good enough to feel better emotionally, you're never going to be happy. It's just like no wonder you're empty. No wonder you're going for food to fill yourself up, because you're not giving it to yourself. And that's huge. And the reasons we're having these problems is because we don't want to feel a negative emotion. And we also don't realize that to have a healthy, balanced life, we need to have negative emotions 50% of the day and 50% that are positive. But because we recognize that, then we don't have to have all that emotional, like, oh, I shouldn't feel so bad. What's wrong with me? My life is not picture perfect, all of that. Okay. So this is a huge part of why so many of my clients are getting so much success, is because they're learning how to build trust in themselves, how to make sure they're 100% responsible for their own feelings. So they don't need a husband to say, darling, you look so lovely, or, sister, you look amazing. They don't need to have that, because they're starting to do that for themselves. I had such a great coaching session with one of my clients yesterday, and she had such a great experience, because she was noticing that, like, started noticing as she walked past the mirror, she's like, ooh, I do look really good in these pants, and ooh, like, I do look really, I really like the way that my body feels. I really like that I have less on my stomach. And she didn't need other people to tell her. She was telling herself, like, what a good job she had done. And the scale hadn't moved it down as much as she'd hoped it would have, but it didn't actually matter, because the way that she was thinking about herself was so different. Okay, so when we talk about self-confidence, this one is so key. So self-confidence comes from needing your own approval, and you don't need anyone else's. Now, if anyone wants to get coached, you can start putting your hand up. There are a few other things that I did want to say. So one of the most of us aren't as self-confident, and why aren't we? It's because we don't trust ourselves. We don't understand how to manage our minds, again. So we feel out of control with our feelings and actions. This leads us to let ourselves down consistently. This undermines our ability to trust and stay in integrity. We're afraid of our emotions, and we don't want to feel any negativity, so we hide. So this is why you are worried and lack that confidence to just press the button. Like, let's just do this. Let's just make this happen. So I want you to ask yourself if these are some of the thoughts that you have had and that have led you to not have the self-confidence. So I'm just going to see if anyone has their hand up yet. Okay. All right, so have any of you been prone to any of these questions? Failure is weakness. So if you're thinking failure is weakness, then you're not going to be able to build your self-confidence. I'm different from someone who is super successful. So that's saying I'm just not someone that can have that kind of success. I don't know how. There are different, special, privileged, and lucky. Rejection is the worst thing that can happen. So are any of these ringing a bell for you? Other people's opinions define me. The less risk I take, the better. Anyone relating to these? Confidence is something you either have or you don't. That one is so tricky because I'm sure most of you are here saying, oh, but look at Dara, she's so confident. Okay, have you guys gone back and looked at my before and after pictures? I was not confident. I was not confident at all in those pictures. And I struggled so much. It is something I have built. It is my willingness to learn to trust myself, be in the process of trusting myself, and learning how to, I would say the currency for your success is the more willing you are to feel vulnerable is the more success you're going to have. And that is 100% how I've been able to do the things that I have been able to do, is because I'm totally willing to feel all the negative emotions. Another one that you might think is looks, money, upbringing, or intelligence determine my confidence. Okay. I'm a victim and damaged. So many of us think we're actually flawed. Like it's in our genes that we wouldn't be able to. I'm not sure. I'm sure I haven't told any of you this, but I'm 6 feet. Well, I've told you I'm 6 feet tall, but I have 2 sisters, and my sisters are both very, like they're different than I am. I look like my dad and my 2 brothers. In fact, my one brother who's 6'5" and he's like 250 pounds. His fiance said to me once, she's like, you're just the girl version of Duncan, my brother. And I was like, how do I take that? But I'm very much like my dad. I'm like my 2 brothers with my features. And so, and I used to take my wrist, I used to take my fingers and see how thick my wrists are compared to my sisters. And I had this whole story of like, I could never be as thin as them. I could never be as feminine as they are because they just have like, their wrists are thinner. So interesting. And it was really interesting because my sister, anyways, I am now like my sisters, and I never thought that was possible. So we have a whole story that we tell, and there's some like maybe some security in that, all of that. So I just want you to know that that is definitely something that a lot of us can fall into, and it's just part of like kind of a self-preservation. But as we understand how to build our own confidence, and as we learn how to feel emotions and not make a big deal of it, like to feel a negative emotion, it's okay. That's when we can really build this self-confidence. So self-confidence, so when you have more confidence, this is what's going to happen. And this is what I get to see with my clients. They set more goals. We take more actions. We talk to more people. We take more risks. We achieve more. We believe beyond your current capacity and capabilities. So the last pillar of my program is we create a future you whom you really like being. And so it's really fun for me to help my clients create this for themselves. We actually start living into our future. And that is exciting. So one of my clients today, she's always wanted to have an online long arm business. And so we've made the goals, we've set it all out, and I'm going to help her to really work through all of those obstacles that she has had because she hasn't done it before. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So increased self-confidence comes from changing your thoughts about yourself. You can increase it by considering the possibility of what you can create in the future. The more certain you are of a possibility, the more confidence you will have moving toward it. So I want you to think about what difference your life will be when you have lost the weight. How different will you think about yourself? How different will you conduct yourself? Okay, I'm waiting for someone to put their hand up. I love coaching people. All right, so afraid of failure, afraid of disappointment. Imagine your life if you were willing to feel both of these feelings without fear. How would that be? How different would that be for you? Your identity is built on your beliefs about yourself. And remember what I said about beliefs. Beliefs are just a series of thoughts that you've just thought enough times. It's true. So if we start changing the way we start thinking about ourselves, we actually change the belief that we have. So when I first started along on this road, I remember my life coach was like, I don't want you to eat sugar and flour for 6 weeks. And I was like, I don't know. And so it was interesting because I thought, well, maybe I could be a person that just doesn't eat sugar and flour for 6 weeks. And we were going on vacation, which is like a lot of big road trips for restaurants and all of that. And I just thought, could I be that person? And it's this more, I was more certain of the more certain you are of a possibility, the more confidence you will have moving towards it. So that was super interesting because I was like, okay, I'm just going to become a person who just doesn't eat sugar and flour for that time. And so I don't know, maybe I should, whoever wants to, could call on some of my clients. I see some of you in here. Oh, here we go, Susan. I'm going to promote you. All right, Susan.
Hi there.
Hi there. And can you, oh, there you go. Perfect. What do you have for me?
Well, I mean, we talked yesterday.
All right. Do you know how much people, I'm just going to have a seat. Do you know how many people benefit from watching coaching? It's amazing.
I know. So, you know, we've been talking about yesterday that, and you kind of touched on it today in terms of the buffering.
Yeah.
And so I actually spent a bunch of time this morning, basically doing some self-coaching and working through the model, with some of the things we had talked about with entitlement and everything. And interestingly, I sat and I went through it, and there are absolutely some things that I need to work on, and some things that I'm realizing about myself that I'm not really happy about, that I feel like I need to go ahead and change. And but interestingly, I got all through, like, working through the model and writing a ton of stuff down, and my headache went away. So I thought that was really interesting.
So when you relate that to self-confidence, so even taking trust, so you've had a headache.
Yeah.
Like there's like a physical discomfort in your body.
Right.
And so how do you think?
You know, I think that there's, I think sitting down and going through the model and looking at these things in terms of, you know, why do I try and avoid, you know, feeling negative about whatever it might be, that, and it does all work together with the perfectionism and all of the things. I know I'm saying things that you're not specifically addressing in this webinar, but
okay. No, you can share. People love it.
But I think, you know, a piece of it in terms of like trying to suppress those emotions, like, just takes so much work.
Effort, right? So
I think it was giving me a headache.
It was.
honestly.
Right.
I think that it was.
Right. So when we think about any feeling, so
Mhm.
one of the thoughts that you'd be willing to share was this idea of, like, when you shared that Marco Polo with me
Mhm.
about, so when you were a kid, what was the message that you got?
Um, okay, I have to, I'm gonna have to think back because I mean, the
Be
message
the
that I got,
girl.
that I needed to be good, that I needed to do everything the right way,
Right.
and so and being good, that meant I needed to be happy, and if I was sad, we needed to dry your eyes, put some cold water on your face because we
Right.
want to be happy all the time, but be good, do things the right way, and as long as you're doing things the right way and striving for perfection,
Yeah.
then you will be happy.
Right.
um,
So you basically, the way you internalize that message, and I think a lot of us did, because I mean, let's be honest, like, our parents didn't have Oprah Winfrey. Like, they didn't have, like, Phil. They didn't, Dr. Phil. Like, they didn't have
right,
this,
yeah,
like, skill set of, like, oh,
right,
this is, I'm happy and it's okay, and this is, I'm sad and that's okay. It's good to,
right,
we didn't actually learn how to honor our feelings.
right,
And so, but this is where the disconnect is in our brain. It's like, if we're a good person, we should
hmm
always be happy.
exactly,
Right. And so
exactly,
that's the disconnect. And so we're trying to, like, do a math formula with the wrong, like a math equation with the wrong formula.
right,
And that's why
yeah,
we have, like, that's why we think, oh, well, if I can just, bunker down and just, like, get really good and really systematic, and we can
right,
iron out all these wrinkles,
yeah,
then we never have to have that problem again.
right, yeah,
But we will always have to have a balanced, happy life.
yeah,
Recognize that half is going to be, and half is going to be negative, and it's not a
right,
big deal.
right, yeah,
So helpful. And I think that's such a great reminder, for everybody to know this, is that we can process any emotions, and emotions are literally just vibrations in our body saying, oh, Susan, you know,
hmm
like, you're happy. This is your happy vibration. So let's
right,
keep doing this thing. If you're
right,
sad, okay, let's just allow yourself to be sad and give yourself some love and compassion.
right, yeah. Yeah, and there were a couple of things that happened yesterday, um, and they honestly they were completely minor things,
Mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason, I think because you and I had been talking about this, so I was kind of really thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was I was like way overworked about
Mm-hmm.
being mad and irritated about these things. And there's a part of me that absolutely knew these are like super minor and it's just not a big deal.
Yeah.
This stuff happens, but like I said, I'm going back to but I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do. They don't want us going to the store all the time. So I've planned this out and then they're not having what I need and they're supposed to have this. And,
Okay.
you know, I mean, like I
Okay.
said, it was totally stupid stuff.
Okay. So
But
let's just coach, because not everyone has the insight that we do, and it's good to
right,
share. So
yeah,
if you don't mind, let's coach you
sure.
on. So you went to the grocery store, I'm assuming.
Actually, no, I went to Bed Bath and Beyond.
Oh, okay. So Bed Bath and Beyond. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was your thought?
Um, well,
What
I was
happened? Yeah.
going because we have a Soda Stream,
Oh, so
and
do we.
so we were out of the CO2
Yeah.
refills, and so Bed Bath and Beyond was out of them. We needed refills.
Okay. Okay. So you made a special trip.
Yes.
So you were
Yep.
organized and planned. You made
Yep.
this special trip,
Yes.
and the thought is, I made this special trip, and they don't have what I
And
need.
you're out of them.
Yeah.
Why are you out of them?
Okay. So when you had that, so I made this special trip, and you're out of them. How do you
Mhm.
feel?
I was angry. I was irritated. I was like,
Okay.
I made a special trip. Why are you out of them?
All right. So when you feel irritated, what actions do you take? What kind of things?
Um, well, yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
it was more like unkind
Yeah,
thoughts to
well, we have to
myself.
stay in irritation, right? Because so when we
Right,
feel irritated, like this
right.
is one of our tendencies. Are like, okay, I feel irritated now. I want to move on, but it's like, no, no, we got to
Yeah,
stay in the irritation,
right.
and it's okay to feel irritated.
Yeah.
So when you were irritated, what did you do?
When I was irritated, I was berating myself for why didn't I call? Why didn't I plan better?
Okay. What else did you do when you were irritated?
Well, I silently said very not nice things to the salesperson, but
Oh,
I didn't say them to her face.
so thought unkind words,
Yes.
okay, to salesperson.
Which, I kind of laugh about now because I'm like, seriously, it's not her fault that they didn't have them.
That's right. Okay. So you
It's not
braided
like she saw
yourself.
me coming and sold them all ahead of time.
That's right. It's like, I better sell them all because Susan's on
Yeah,
her way.
that's right.
But that's okay. But in the moment when you were feeling irritated, that's
Right.
how it felt. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So you braided yourself about your poor planning. You thought unkind words to the salesperson. Anything else?
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay. So then the result is, so the circumstances, Bath, Bed and Beyond. The thought
Mm-hmm.
is, I made this special trip and you're out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you felt irritated. And when you felt irritated, you braided yourself about your poor planning. You thought unkind words to the salesman. So
Mm-hmm.
what is the result of that of Bed, Bath and Beyond?
The result is that I feel terrible and I still don't have my soda stream refills.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
had this unnecessary, like you had this extra, you had a special trip that
Right.
went especially bad
Yeah.
because of
Right.
the way that you managed your thinking.
Yes.
Which is fine because now we're like, oh, but the thing is, we think it's not the Bed Bath and Beyond that's causing you to feel irritated, and it's not Bed Bath and Beyond that's causing you to berate yourself about your poor planning
Oh
or
no.
being unkind words to the salesman, the
No.
salesperson. And then of course to have a really negative emotion with it. It's
Right.
the thought, I made this special trip and you're out of them. That's
Yeah.
what caused you to feel irritated.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So for those of thank you. So for those of you who like, this is the one of the tools that I teach. It's called the model. And so what Susan's talking about is that when she could isolate that thought of, I made this special trip and you're out of them,
Right.
that thought is what caused her to be irritated. It wasn't the fact that it was Bath, Bed and Beyond.
Right.
And so this is how we start understanding like our feeling and then knowing. So Susan, now that you know that you can like process an emotion, you can isolate
Mm-hmm.
it, how has
Right.
that helped you with your own trust for yourself?
It definitely increases it. It's definitely like, okay, so yes, I reacted this way. Yes, in retrospect, it was unreasonable for me to respond this way,
Mhm.
but it's okay. I'm able to recognize that that's the way that I reacted and move on with
Right,
things
right.
and regroup.
So as everyone can see, she's learning her self-confidence. She's learning to trust herself, that she has tools and she uses them. She's learning that she can actually have any feeling. And the way that she thinks about herself now is so much more healthy because it's like, oh no, I just solved my own problems
Mm-hmm.
and I have the tools.
Yeah.
All right, our time is up. Thank you so much, Susan.
Sure.
So for all of you, thank you for coming to this webinar. I'm so excited about my doors being open for the Love Yourself Thin. If you want to just sign up, you just send me an email and I'll sign you up and you can just join in with the group on the Facebook page. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.